Welcome to the channel. In this video, I'll be doing another mystery box unboxing. If you haven't seen my previous video, I highly recommend checking out that video because I actually ended up unboxing some pretty interesting items, if I say so myself. This time we have a really interesting box for you, and this time I actually paid a little bit cheaper, much cheaper for this box. This time I only paid $50 for this mystery box. Here's the mystery box right here that I actually ended up paying $50 for. Keep in mind as well, this is going to be the same type of stuff. It's going to be video game stuff and electronics as well. So I'm actually very excited to actually unbox this. So let's go ahead and put this down and start unboxing. I'm just going to pick up stuff at random and let's see if we got any good stuff this time around. So it looks like the first thing I actually am seeing here, which is kind of interesting, is I did get Family Guy Volume 3 on the DVD right here. And if you know anything about Family Guy and a lot of these adult cartoons, you can find these pretty much everywhere. So I wouldn't necessarily say this is a win-win, considering most people have already seen Family Guy way too many times. You can find these DVDs floating around for relatively cheap, and you can also stream the series relatively easily. So yeah, let me go ahead and check the condition. The box actually looks like it's in pretty good condition, the cardboard box. So that's actually great news. And then it looks like we have disc 3. Disc 3 is in there. Really quick, let's check the disc. Wow, these are actually in pretty mint condition, almost no scratching. So you can see either someone took care of these or they just never used them. Disc 1. Disc 1 is also in, yeah, mint condition. They're all in mint condition, surprisingly enough, which is actually pretty nice, I guess. And then disc 2 is in also a very good condition. So we got all 3 discs, and we got them in all mint condition, I would honestly say. The box does have a slight like tears at the bottom, but that's to be expected. So overall, I would say this is a win-win, at least for Family Guy, but I'm assuming these don't go for much anyway, just because, like I said, everyone's already seen them a lot, and you can also stream them. Let's see what we have next here. Holy smokes! I was not expecting this. So I'm seeing a copy of Gran Turismo 2 for the PlayStation. And the thing is, this thing is in nasty condition. First of all, the casing's cracked. Luckily, you can probably swap this out, which is not a big deal. But first of all, the casing is cracked. And then more so, the back of it is really nasty. It looks like dirt or it looks like some sand. I don't know where this copy has been, but you can see right away that this copy is just in really bad condition, at least when it comes to the quality of this thing. Like I said, the case is going to need to be changed out. You can't even read the back of this thing for the most part. It's pretty much unreadable. Let's at least see if the discs are in good condition, because that's going to be the make it or break it. And this is a 2-disc set, I do believe. So we have simulation mode for Gran Turismo 2. Let's see what the disc looks like. It looks like there's actually a big scratch. It's hard. It might be hard to see on camera, but it looks like there's actually quite a big scratch where my hand's actually putting. I don't know if that's actually soluble. It looks like it might be really deep actually as well. It looks like it might be some form of cracking. It's actually really bad. This might need a resurface, or it may not just work at all. This is the simulation mode for Gran Turismo. And then the next disc we have over here, it doesn't look like we have a manual. Oh no, I think we have a manual actually. I'm not familiar with 2-disc sets. I'm not seeing a manual actually. I don't know if that's just the cover art or what. And then we also have the arcade mode. Let's check out the disc for the arcade mode. Here's the arcade mode right here for the disc. And then this one actually looks like it's in much better condition than the simulation mode discs, which this one I'm 100% sure would most likely play if you put it in a PS1 to actually play this disc out of the 2 sets. But yeah, a pretty nice pickup, but considering the case is dirty, you'd have to change, and considering the simulation disc is not in good condition, I wouldn't hold my breath on this copy. This copy is not really a good copy, if you ask me personally, of Gran Turismo 2 for the PlayStation. Let's see what we have next here. The next thing we have here is a Lightning to SD card camera readers. I think these go for about 20 bucks or so. This is the one that's officially for an Apple. I mean, that's not saying much considering most modern day Apple devices moving forward aren't going to be using Lightning anymore. The iPhone 15 already uses USB Type-C, and then most, if not all, of the iPads, I think to date, do use USB Type-C as well. I'm sure there's some older devices like older iPhones and then older iPads that still use the lightning cable, but it is interesting. This is just standard lightning to SD card if you need to plug in an SD card, like if you're transferring some photos or some videos over from like a camera, which is actually pretty nice. Let's see what condition this is in. Oh, this is actually in pretty mint condition. It looks like the person just never used it. It even came with the original cardboard that came in the box, which is actually pretty interesting. And also the lightning cord or the lightning cable that plugs into your phone or your tablet is also in mint condition. So that's actually a pretty good win. Probably something I'd probably want to resell, honestly, because I really don't have any use for that, since most of my modern day devices do use USB Type-C. Oh, I'm getting something actually very interesting here, even more so than the last couple of items we got. It looks like we actually got a tablet on our hands. Here's the tablet right here as we speak. It looks like it's about 7 inches. You can see it's a much more older tablet. It has a really big bezel around the screen, which is not really common nowadays with modern day tablets. And it looks like it got those, it looks like it for sure, I can tell you right away, it isn't some type of Android tablet. It does have a little camera on the front, and it has a very big bezel. And then on the back, it's definitely a knockoff type tablet. You can see on the back, it does say Trio on the back. I'm not sure what gig this is. Oh, this is 4 gig. And it also does use a micro SD card. I actually like lots when they give me like a micro SD card, an SD card, a hard drive or anything like that, because you never know what you're going to stumble upon when it actually comes to these. And sometimes you find some wild stuff in this kind of thing, in these kind of things. It looks like we have, for the micro SD card, we have a 16 gig micro SD card from PNY right there, which is actually quite a lot and still is today, depending on what you put on it. Like if you put MP3s or just little pictures and things like that, or text documents and emulators and ROMs and things, you can get quite a lot on here. Now, I'm not quite sure what type of operating system this uses. I'm assuming it uses some form of Android, but with a lot of these knockoff devices that are relatively cheaper than like name brands like Samsung, for instance, when it comes to Android devices, a lot of times they don't have the Google certification. So what ends up happening is you don't get the Play Store and a lot of Google services. Let's go ahead and boot this up really quickly and see if this thing even has any charge. It looks like it uses, it must be pretty old. It looks like it doesn't even use micro USB. It looks like right here on the side it uses mini USB, the same type of port that the old PSP uses and some other devices. Trio Stealth. It said Trio Stealth on the actual device. And I can tell you so far, it does say Android on it, but I have my doubts with this thing. It's booting up in the Android operating system. I want to check what Android operating system this is. I don't actually see a manufacturing date on this either. It does seem like it also supports a headphone jack, which is not common nowadays. It is taking awfully long to boot into the Android operating system for some reason. So you can see this is probably really old and really slow. It probably only has maybe 1 gig of RAM or even less than 1 gig of RAM on this thing, because it's loading pretty slow. Okay, I can tell you right away, I'm pretty sure it's a really old version of some type of Android. And the battery health's really bad. I don't know how well the battery was maintained on this. Let's see if we can get into okay, surprisingly enough, it does have Gmail on it, but it doesn't have Google Play on it, unfortunately. Let me see if I can. Well, I'm not connected to the internet, of course. Let me at least go see real quick in the settings if I can bring up the settings. Don't want to make this video too long. I just want to see in the system settings what version of Android this is, because it looks really outdated. About tablet. Android 4.4. I want to say that, oh yes, it is Android 4.0 ice cream sandwich. I wouldn't say that one's that bad, but it is pretty outdated. And the biggest problem with this tablet, for sure, just me looking at it, I don't know how well you can see this on camera, but me just looking at this thing definitely does not look good at all. It's very washed out and it's very dim. And you can see inside the screen, it's not one of those screens that really is vibrant, popped out. So this is definitely not OLED or anything too crazy, and you can see inside the screen and it's really washed out and really bad. So I wouldn't say this is a win at all. This is a really cheap Android tablet from Trio Stealth or whatever it's called. So yeah, and it's running Android 4.0, which most likely cannot be updated for sure because it's just too old. So take it for what it is. But yeah, I guess a little Trio 4 gig 7-inch tablet that runs ice cream sandwich. So take it as it is. Let's see what the next thing is in here. The next thing in here looks like, oh, it's actually a, it looks like it's actually just a Western Digital hard drive right here, which is actually pretty interesting. I don't know what type of port this is. This may be mini or micro. It doesn't look like it came with a cable, at least from what I felt in the box. I didn't feel any cables. And it says My Passport, and I'm not sure what gig this is because it's not specified on the back of it. But I will have to plug this into a computer and see if there's anything interesting on here. Because like I said, again, you see some wild stuff when it comes to used SD cards and hard drives and things like that. But yeah, I wonder what size this is again. I may have hit the jackpot with this because Western Digital is a well-named brand when it actually comes to hard drives. So I may be able to get some use out of this portable hard drive right here. I can tell you right away for sure this is most likely a portable hard drive and not a portable SSD. But yeah, very nice right there. And it's also very thin and very lightweight as well. Let's see what else we got. I guess I was wrong. There is kind of a cable here, but not really. I'm looking at a Nintendo Switch Ethernet adapter right here, which is actually very nice. You can actually plug this into the dock of a Nintendo Switch dock if you own one and actually use wired internet, which is actually pretty nice, and I highly recommend it, especially for games like Smash Brothers, because that game can get very laggy very fast. So at least if you use one of these, it's better than nothing. You can see there's the internet port on the side, and then here's the USB. It looks like it's just standard USB 2.0, but it is better than nothing, I guess. And that is a really nice pickup, especially if you don't have a newer dock that already has an internet port on it. You can use this on a Nintendo Switch. Now, I'm not quite sure if you can use this Nintendo Switch internet adapter on something like a computer if it doesn't have a internet port. I'm not sure about that, but either way, I guess this is a nice little adapter right here that I did pick up. These are kind of like $10 to $15, $20, so it's nice. I guess I got this. Let's see what else here. Huh. It looks like I got an Amazon Echo. It looks also, from what I remember, it looks like an older Amazon Echo. It doesn't look like one of the newer ones, and it didn't come with an adapter or anything like that. But I can tell you right away, I had one of these before, one of these older ones, or one of these Amazon Echo Dots, and I can tell you for sure it just takes a standard, like, you can use a standard charger that you use for your cell phone and just run this in the wall. And this looks like it uses micro USB, and then it does have a headphone jack. So I think with a lot of these older ones that the speakers in here weren't good, so they intended you to actually connect this to like a Bluetooth speaker or connect it to something like a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack to run it to like speakers or something like that with a headphone jack. So there it is, the Amazon Echo Dot, which is actually a pretty nice pickup. I'm assuming this would still work. I don't think they cut services to the older ones or any of them at all. So this is a pretty nice pickup. I remember when this was about $50 or $40 when these things first came out. And these things do go on sale relatively cheap, but it is interesting that I did get an Amazon Echo Dot to be specific in the box. And it is the white version of this thing, which is kind of cool. Let's see what else I'm getting. Oh my, this is actually a pretty good pickup. I think this item right here that I just picked up, actually, now looking at it, I think this easily makes the whole entire lot for me personally, and I think I got my money's worth. So right now, what I'm actually looking at an older GoPro, I do believe. The only thing is, I can't tell you for sure which type of GoPro this is because they made a whole bunch of different models, so I'm not sure which one this is. I want to say this is either a GoPro 5, 6, or 7, I want to say, because they all look relatively similar. Let me see if there's anything inside of it. So unfortunately, we didn't get a battery and we didn't get a micro SD card, which this thing uses to actually save all your photos and videos. But the nice thing is with these things, you can find batteries almost everywhere, even for the older ones. And of course, micro SD cards are still some of the most common SD cards or some of the most common memory cards used everywhere. So that's very interesting. It looks like there may be some water damage on the back of this thing, or it may just be a bubbled up screen protector. I'm not sure. I'm going to hope it's just a bubbled up screen protector. I don't really have any way to test this right away, but it looks like this could make up the whole entire lot if this is actually usable and workable. Even if I bought some batteries for this, I would probably say this is a win-win because I am a big fan of GoPros. We don't have any of the attachments, it looks like, or any of the battery again or anything, but it is a nice little pickup that I did get a GoPro, and GoPros are always usable, and it doesn't matter how old the GoPro is because GoPros are always going to be usable, even if it's a little bit lesser quality and has a little bit lesser features than some of the new ones. It's still a win-win scenario because they made so many accessories for these things, and they're also very pocketable and also very nice cameras, not even just for like action sports. Even if you're just a vlogger or even if you just want to capture something, these are actually very practical and very usable cameras, which I am a really big fan of. It doesn't also say on the side which GoPro it is, so I'm not sure. It just says Hero on the side, but either way, this is a win-win scenario as long as this is working and intact, which is actually a very nice pickup. I'm only feeling like I think 2 items left in the box. The next one we're looking at here is a copy of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Tag Force 2 for the PSP because it's UMD disc. I owned a PSP back in the day, and here's the UMD disc right here. It also looks like it... that's weird. Is this a case for the UMD or what? Okay, it looks like it is in a UMD case, but the only problem is it looks like the UMD for the case for Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Tag Force 2 is actually in really bad shape. I'm not sure if you can change the cases out for these because unfortunately, even if you have a disc laying around for the PSP, you do have to have it in the UMD case before you can actually put it in the PSP. And these things, at least for me personally, in my experience, would break all too often for me. I don't know why that is, but they would always break. And here's a little UMD holder, I think, which you don't put in the PSP. But yeah, very interesting that I had a copy of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Tag Force 2 on the PSP. And I can't really tell you the condition of the actual disc. It looks all right, but it's really hard to tell until I put this into a PSP to check it out for myself, which I'll probably do at another time since I don't have a PSP on hand at the moment. And then the last thing in this box for sure is a, what is this? It looks like a USB stick. Xbox? I don't think Microsoft or the Xbox brand actually made any USB thumb drives. I think this is some type of an adapter. Does it connect to like a I want to say this might actually connect to like a controller because I remember a long time ago, especially like on the Xbox One, I think I remember you did need an adapter to actually use your controller wirelessly on a PC if you wanted to use your controller because they didn't support Bluetooth back in the original Xbox One days when the controllers were first being made. Later on in the life cycle of the Xbox One, like Xbox One S, I do believe, when they made that system, they actually ended up making all of their controllers Bluetooth instead of IR, and I think that's what this is. But I'm not 100% sure about this, but it is interesting that they get an Xbox adapter, it looks like. And there's no information on it, which is kind of interesting. It's mostly just blank, which is actually pretty interesting. It does have a connect button on the side and things like that. Now, what did I get for my $50? Did I actually do pretty good this time? I would honestly say, for the most part, this is definitely already a win if I can get this GoPro to actually work and everything like that. Even if it's a little bit older GoPro, this is definitely a win-win just because GoPros are expensive and GoPros are always practical and always usable as well because there's a lot of accessories again and a lot of things made for the GoPro, and batteries are always accessible as well. So this one I would say I did pretty good on, especially if this works. Now if this doesn't work, unfortunately this isn't a win-win for me, but it's not a bad lot, I would say, but it's not, again, amazing lot. I would just say it's an okay lot. Unless the camera works, then I would bump it up to pretty good, honestly, because the GoPro is pretty nice. And yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for this video. Anyway, guys, this is Wayne signing out.